Have y'all ever been around other women long enough for y'all periods to sync? Like, meaning, like, when one person come on their period, everybody else start to come on their period? Nobody told me this was true for female dogs, too. Let's talk about it. So, I know it might be TMI, but I have not came on my cycle in a very long time because I'm on the control, right? So, I don't get them very often. But I started to cramp. And I'm thinking something is wrong with me because I haven't came on so long. Like, why is my stomach hurting? Like, what's really going on? My little cockapoo, Noella, right? She went to the bathroom. I always try to wipe her off. Sometimes get like any little pee-pee that's still down there or whatever off of her. I go to wipe her. Why do I see blood? Now, my baby is 9 months, okay? So I had an idea that it was coming soon, but I didn't expect it to set mine off, okay? To be honest, I'm like, so it all makes sense because she came on her cycle and she lives in my house. I came on my cycle. Oh, wow.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Miss Kafui. Have you ever heard of period syncing? Myself, I didn't know there was a name for this. I've experienced this multiple times and I'm sure you've also experienced this. And I've always wondered, what is going on right here? What is this? What is this? But today I found my answer. And as I was scrolling through TikTok, I was making another video about period hygiene and all those videos are coming up. But this got my attention because I didn't know there was actually a phenomenon and even a research behind this. I never cared to research, but anyway, today we have our answers. So ladies, let's jump right into this video and then I'll be back to give my take on it.
Have you ever gotten your period and then like your best friend or your sister or your mom or someone you're around a lot got their period and all of a sudden you're period syncing buddies? How would you feel if I told you that's not an actual thing? Period syncing became a thing after studying the 1970s, claiming that women's periods sync up to an alpha uterus. This is called the McClintock effect after the scientists and has since been proven wrong multiple times. But it happened, so how do you explain it? It's a coincidence and it's the laws of probability. Menstruators have different cycle lengths, and since periods last only a few days, at one point there will be an overlap. For a few cycles, you have your periods at the same time or within a few days of each other, but then after some time they'll desync. There's no actual long-term synchronization or an alpha uterus causing it. Like, let's say my cycle is 30 days, yours is 25. At one point we'll have our periods at the same time, especially when irregular periods are so common. Diet, stress, exercise, they're just a few things that can affect your period. So while we may not sync to an alpha uterus, at least there's comfort in knowing that we're suffering together. Follow for more girl tats and tips.
Did you know that women who live together or work closely together will synchronize their menstrual periods within 2 or 3 months? So when we were living in the cave, the men hunted and gathered and lived quite nomadically. So sometimes they would go away for months at a time. And actually, if they went far enough away and were closer to another cave of the same tribe, they would actually just stay there and never return to the original cave. But mostly they would leave for weeks or months and then return to the original cave. And in those days, the most fundamental important thing for the survival of the human species was that the alpha male must pass on his genes. So if he was going to be away for months and he couldn't, there weren't men there to defend the women from predators, maybe there was going to be a spell of the ice age and they would all freeze to death or they wouldn't have food, he needed to make sure that at least 5 women were impregnated with his sperm at the same time, so that if there was a food shortage or there was like stillbirth or miscarriage or whatever, at least 1 out of 5 would survive. So to be able to do that, they had to be fertile at the same time. So that's why that mechanism exists.
Have you ever noticed that when you're around other women, your period starts to sync with theirs? You might start bleeding at the same time, or feel their cramps, their moods, even when your cycle hasn't started yet. That's not coincidence. That's communication. Your womb is talking to theirs. Because wombs don't just bleed, they broadcast. They pick up signals. They match energy. They align. Every womb holds its own frequency. And when women come together, by blood, by bond, or by spirit, our wombs begin to tune into each other. They sync in rhythm with each other, in rhythm with the earth, in rhythm with the moon. And yes, this all ties back to frequency. Because we're not just bodies, we're instruments. And when we're aligned, we don't just play the same note. We become the song. So the next time your cycle changes around another woman, or your body picks up symptoms that aren't even yours, understand your womb is listening. She's syncing. She's communicating. She's remembering what was once sacred. Because when women are connected, our bodies speak, our wombs respond, and our cycles sink into power. They say on a collective level, we're all connected. But truthfully, the only ones I've ever seen truly connected are womb men.
I need to know if anyone else out there is a master period starter. Like, since as long as I can remember, anytime I get my period, I make everyone else around me start their period. When I lived in a sorority house, I would make everyone sync up with me. When my best friend lived with me, she'd never had regular periods. And then when she lived with me, she would get her period right after me. And then this is my first period postpartum, like 15 months postpartum. And my nanny is literally on an IUD or has an IUD. And she was like, dude, you made me start my period. She gets maybe 2 a year, she said. And then my best friend was hanging out with me and she was like, you made me start my period 5 days early. So is it just like I have super strong hormones that's making people sync up with me? I'd love to know the science behind it, but it's a real thing for me. Like, it just, no fail, I make everyone start their period.
Sync! Get their periods, come on, just give me a period, I don't know. Okay. Now we pray that my period comes.
I'm dead. Did everybody just start their period today? What is going on? That always, every time I start my period, I get on here and one of the gym girls I follow, they say it's the first day of their period too. I really feel like our cycles are syncing up, y'all. We're locked in.
Do our periods actually sync, or is it just a myth? You know that thing where you get close with a new group of friends and suddenly you're all on your period at the same time? Is that real? Are our bodies actually all syncing up? Or is it just a coincidence? Back in 1971, a researcher named Martha McClintock studied 135 women living in a dorm. And her study concluded that their periods did start syncing up. And she called it the McClintock effect, or period syncing. And for decades, people took this as a fact. Here's the twist. New research says that this is actually not a fact. It is just all a big myth. In 2006, a larger study was done on 186 women living in a dorm. And this study found that this is just up to a mathematical coincidence. Yeah, it's just a random overlap. It is not some magical bestie spiritual connection that we have. So while it feels like we're syncing up, science says it's actually not true. Still, it definitely brings us closer together, going through our cycle at the same time, just understanding what we're feeling, because we're in the trenches together. So I want to know, what do you think? Is your cycle synced up with your best friend, or are our period brains just tricking us? Let me know what you think in the comments.
To the people that own vaginas, guys, let's talk about this. How if I'm on my periods, I can transfer it to you. Like, how have we accepted that and just kept quiet? So in the girl world, it can happen that if I'm on my periods and I'm very close to you, you may all of a sudden start your period very quickly, and that is called period syncing. So basically in the girl world, it happens. It's not explained on why, but it just happens. And this is when, if I'm on my periods, this is when most female relatives stay away from me in some kind of way to avoid this. Some even say, if you're on your periods, Mugel, because automatically, say, now I'm bleeding. Guys, please remember this happens. If you have had experience with this, because every girl has, please comment down below. And Futsi, please remember that periods are totally normal. Here, we're just here to remind you that if your periods are a bit heavier than your usual, or they're even longer, you need medical help. And if you are seeing some symptoms, Yana, please DM us. We're always available. And remember, stay fucking healthy.
Does my period actually sync up with my friends? This information honestly changed my life. So stop scrolling if you want to know the truth about period syncing. So what is period syncing, first off? It's this theory that when menstruators live together, that just like a Bluetooth, someone is the alpha and everyone syncs up to getting their period at the same time. So it's like when you're hanging out with your friend and you say, oh, I'm getting my period in like 2 days. They go, no way, I'm getting my period in 2 days. And then every single month, you end up getting your period around the same time. And then there's this phenomenon called period syncing. Now, is this actually true? Do menstruator cycles actually sync together? Despite popular belief, this is a myth. Scientific evidence does not support period syncing. In fact, it's not actually real. In 2017, there was a study done on this. They compared across 360 people who identify as a woman, and they followed these menstruators for over a year to see if their periods synced up. In the end, they didn't. So next time you think if you're going to period sync with your friends or with your roommates, you're probably not, and that's actually a myth.
Yep, I need that. Come on, what's up? Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, hey.
You want to know what's fucked up? According to science, there hasn't been adequate studies that show that women sync up during menstruation. But it's a thing. Like, I've definitely synced up with my friends before, and ask any girl, like, it's a thing that happens, and I don't understand how science is like, oh, we don't have enough adequate evidence. Talk to women that have hung out with other women for long periods of time. Like, bitch, we sync.
This is exactly why I can't trust none of you fucking bitches. Which one of y'all had y'all period and made mine come early? I synced up with one of you bitches and my period came a whole week early. Now I'm in pain. Now I'm suffering. Now I got this thick ass, heavy ass flow that I was not expecting and my plans are ruined. I'm in pain. I'm crying. I'm hungry. I'm tired. Sorry, I got a cramp. I get those cramps you gotta breathe through. But it's nothing worse than syncing your cycles with a bitch by mistake. You least expect it. It's nothing fucking worse. So if you get your period and you're chilling with a bitch, warn her. Cause you might just make her shit come early, okay? And if you didn't know that could happen, that could fucking happen. Over here bloated as fuck. Now I'm over here nauseous as fuck. Because thanks to my mama's genes, I get really bad nausea. I get really bad headaches. I get dizzy. I just get sick. Really sick when I get my period. I wasn't mentally prepared for this shit to come this early, okay? And to deal with my kid. She's calling me right now. Oh God. Help me. If anybody wants a uterus, you can have mine.
Can we talk about period syncing? I really want to talk about period syncing. Period syncing is the belief that your period syncs with a person who menstruates if you've spent too much time with them. Basically, your periods sync together. So it's a myth. Google it, ask your gyno, don't come for me. But I still want to know what you have to say about it. Are you convinced that period syncing is real? Have you experienced period syncing? What makes you think it is real? I just want to have a friendly little discussion and potentially turn this into a YouTube video.
So here's a funny one that you girls forgot to tell me, that when you're on the same synced up menstrual cycle, that you're like a fucking gang. If a girl and another girl are both on the same cycle, they're like menstrual cycles, they will hunt you down, they will ransack your house. So, rule number 1, don't piss off one girl that's on her period when she is round about another girl who's on her period, because you're about to fucking die.
I do. One of my closest friends that I be with every single day start her period, right? Boom. Then my sister, I be with her every single day. She start her period like a couple days later. My sister on her period right now. I just started my period yesterday. I start a couple days after her. Like, bro, they got to get away from me. They banned from being with me.
Okay, is it actually true that when two girls are close, their periods can like sync up to be the same dates? What kind of Bluetooth shit is that?
I think we're like witches, and I mean that in the best way possible. You explain to me why if we spend more than 1 month together, we all get our period at the same time. That's like witch shit. It's not like we discuss it. It's not like I'm like, Erica, Renee, Becky, on 3, let's bleed. Right now, at this very moment, every single lady body in the room is sending out an Underground Railroad message. Right now, our uteruses are just reaching out for each other, joining hands. And they're like, Red Rover, Red Rover. Don't send anyone over.
Unless they have dark chocolate. Okay, so I know for a fact that my lesbian girlies are going to feel this. So, everybody thinks that being in a relationship with a girl is so much fun. Like, yeah, everything is so fun. Like, girls is fun. No. Unfortunately, when you have a girlfriend and you've been with a girlfriend for so long, as you guys are always together and around each other, your periods sink in. Which means, when you get your period, she gets her period. So, it's like, y'all fighting because every month y'all fighting for the life of y'all because, bitch, me and my girlfriend, I don't be wanting to be near the girl, and she'll be wanting to be near me every month. Like, nobody talks about that part of the relationship. Nobody talks about that part about being with a girl, because obviously with a nigga, you don't have to think about that. Like, at all. You don't got to think about none of that. But with a girl, yeah, that's rough. That's ghetto.
Is this true? If you're really close with your friend, that your periods can sync up?
As much as anecdotally we want that to be true, and it might be in some cases, but no, the data does not back up that women and girls synchronize their periods if they live together. The idea of women synchronizing started with research findings published in Nature, a scientific journal, in 1971. A researcher called Martha McClintock studied the menstrual cycles of 135 women in an American college. McClintock found that the onset of the date of menstruation was more similar among friends and those that lived in the same dormitory together than among random pairings of those that didn't live together, of the women that she was looking at. Now, what Dr. McClintock hypothesized was that this was because women who live together, their pheromones affect each other, and by spending lots of time together, those pheromones therefore affect the menstrual cycles and therefore how much synchronicity that they get with their periods. But a study by Oxford University and the period tracker app Clue actually debunked that myth completely of period syncing. They found that women and their menstrual cycles were more likely to drift apart than synchronize together, even when they're living together. So the study, we've just never been able to replicate that original study from 1971. So yeah, no synchronization happening of periods when women are living together. It's just one of those lovely myths that comes around every now and then, and it blows people's mind. But thank you for highlighting the fact that we definitely do need more research into menstrual health and periods and what actually happens with periods. So I hope that was useful.
Is it true that girls can sync their menstrual cycles?
I can tell you if this is true. Hi, I'm Dr. Hazel. Period syncing, or menstrual synchrony, is the idea that women who spend a lot of time together will eventually have their periods at the same time. This idea originates from a study in the 1970s by Martha McClintock, who observed that the menstrual cycles of college roommates and close friends seemed to synchronize. He believed that this was due to pheromones or chemical signals that could potentially influence biological rhythm. There were a few flaws to the study, and multiple studies since by different researchers have not produced the same results, and that any perceived alignment of cycles is likely due to chance rather than a true biological phenomenon. What do you think?
So let's talk about this. The physical reason is because apparently when you're around another woman, your pheromones can interact with one another, causing your cycles to sync up. However, I believe there's a bit of a more of a magical explanation to this as well. And that would be that when you are on your period, you are considered to be the most magical, the most intuitive. I talked about this in my video the other day that this comments on, is that literally when you do manifestation or spells or any intention setting while on your period, you're basically doing blood magic, which is very, very powerful. But whenever you do something with more than one consciousness, specifically 3 or more consciousnesses, it can have an impact on the entire human collective. So when you manifest by yourself, it can have an impact on you, it can have an impact on the area around you, but it's probably not going to have a major impact on the entire human collective. As soon as you have 3 consciousnesses coming together, working together with the same intention, it becomes much more powerful. And so I think from a magical standpoint, it makes sense that you would sync up with the women around you, so that if there were spells or manifestations that you wanted to co-create with other women, you could all do it together while you're in your most magical time of your month. And so you could have 2 other women and be menstruating with them and do your magic, your spells, your manifestation at that time, and have a bigger, faster, larger impact with them than if you had done them on your own. So this, once again, is just a theory. This is my thought based on what I know intuitively, as well as what I've studied. But I'd love to hear anyone else's thoughts below.
Right now, I have synced periods with my daughter. This is how it's going. Hey, I started my period. Where's the tampons? I started my period too, Mom, and I used the last one. You used the last one and you didn't tell me? So now what do I gotta use, toilet paper? I don't know. So now I gotta go to Walmart with toilet paper shoved down there, cramping, huh? Well, I mean, I'd go for you, but I don't feel good. I don't feel good either. I'm cramping. I am moody as well. You are not the only one in this position. Okay, well, I'm the kid. You're the mom. I am shocked that you are finally wanting to be a kid, because usually you saying you've outgrown and you have your own mind and can do whatever you want. I don't feel good. Can you get me chocolate while you're at the store? Because I kind of have a little bit of a craving. It is ghetto out here. It is ghetto out here. And this motherhood, daughterhood stuff. So you will get me chocolate. I'm going to go take a nap and get the heating pad. I'm cramping too. I need the heating pad as well. I'm going to go take a nap and use the heating pad. Great. I'm going to Walmart bleeding on myself. Nice.
I just got my period.
For real? We're synced?
Has it happened to you?
So we all know that when you're around another woman for an extended period of time, eventually your cycles start to sync. Your cycle can sync from anyone from your best friend, to your coworker, to your mom, your sister. And so now the question is, why does this happen? The simple answer is pheromones. Pheromones are chemical signals that we naturally give to other humans that we are in contact with. Pheromones work similar to hormones, except they happen outside of the body. The pheromones that we emit interact with the pheromones that other people emit. And so when our pheromones interact as women, they can influence each other, leading to simultaneous periods. The more you know. For more interesting period facts and knowledge, follow us on the Hempers TikTok.
This is a fun one that I just wanted to ask my dad. So have you ever heard of like when women or people with vaginas, like they live together, they think their periods sync up?
Yes.
Is that true?
It is true. It's not in all cases, but it's largely true.
I knew it.
We see it a lot in college students.
Yes.
Yeah. We see it quite often in women that live together. There's a number of things that influence the menstrual cycle. Of course, the most important thing is just it's time to make an egg and release the egg. However, there are external influences, things like the length of the day, the length of the night, the environment. And there's hormones in the brain, things like melatonin and serotonin, that are all influenced by the environment. So if suddenly you have two women living in the exact same environment, those independent things in their brains that normally work on their own start to sync together because they're both exposed to the same daylight, to the same nighttime, to the same time of season, and it actually does synchronize cycles. It's well known and it's fairly common.
Mind blown.
This video was so enlightening. It was so refreshing to watch. And let me tell you, it was also very educational for me. I don't know for you, but for me, it was very educational and funny at the same time. What do you mean you period synced with a dog? That is actually very crazy. Like, how do you even do that? Me, honestly, I used to think it's things to do with the environment or something in the same air that you breathe because you're in the same environment, or maybe because you're eating the same food, so now your body is accustomed to a certain nutrient level or something. I thought it was all that, but it turns out it's also that, but it's also so much more, and it can just be a mathematical overlap, but I don't think it's mathematical. I think this is far more than mathematics, I think this is far more than mathematics. And most of these researches are normally conducted by men. Let's be honest. Okay, I'm sure there's a woman who conducted this research, but let me tell you, most of what we read in science is normally done by men. And do you think men will love that that your wombs have that much power, in the sense that they can broadcast with each other, they can communicate with each other, they can feel each other? Do you think they would want you to know that information, or that you have that power? They will never want you to know. Maybe you're listening to me and you're thinking, oh my God, she's overthinking, or what is she even saying? Anyway, this is my opinion and I'm entitled to an opinion, So tell me what you think. And I'm amazed by this last man who really explains it so well, considering he's a man. Like, he's very educated about those things. Like, it's very refreshing to see that he's not like these men who are in this video who are like, hey, what? I heard that if two women live together, that... Oh, please do your research. Or why are you even asking us? But for this one, he's very educated, but his age can also tell us. But also, age is not something to judge character or knowledge with, because some people are normally so old, but they don't know anything. Literally, they don't know anything. And you know how someone doesn't know anything? It starts with their financial well-being. Because if someone is of an old age and their finances are in bullshit, that tells you that person can hardly manage anything. You can't manage your own finances in your own life. What can you manage? Let's be honest. Anyway, I know situations happen, life turns, people get sick, blah, blah, blah. I'm excusing all that. But I'm saying, like, these people who have just been irresponsible, like, they don't even know how to manage their finances. That tells you that person does not know anything. Anyway, Maybe I'm overstepping with that one. Something else that was funny from this video is the gentleman or the guy who calls, who was so surprised to find out that this happens to women and even calls those women the blood gang. Oh my god, I don't know why that was funny to me, but anyway, it's funny. I don't know however you take it. For me, I took it on light note. That was funny. Hey ladies, let me know what you thought about this video. My commentary wasn't so long on this one. Let me know, have you ever experienced this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, have a nice day and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.